Dawn, or should I say my new dawn. However, I will be explicitly going over every single astrological detail you need to make your life better, in my opinion. And this is my strategy I'm using. I'm going to talk about astrocartography and strategic relocation analysis, which is where I got the name, a roadmap to your new dawn. We're going to skip to the Sovereign Wealth Roadmap and Integrated Astrological Investment Protocol. We're going to go over Integrated Astrological Field Report, the Natal Promise, and Soul Trajectory. The Integrated Predictive Field Report, Cycles of Initiation, 2024 through 2030. Advanced Astrological Concepts, 4 Original Frameworks. And Project Promethea, the Autonomous Celestial Intelligence, a conceptual blueprint for a genius-grade astrological AI. For those that don't like AI, I don't like you. So, anyways, I can see why you're mad about AI taking your job, but at the same time, you need to use it as a tool to actually better your life, which is what I'm doing. And if you don't know how to do that, well then, I'm sorry to say, you're going to be left behind. But anyways, astrocartography and strategic relocation analysis. So I've done other videos about astrocartography. Look at my YouTube channel. I have over 500 videos, and it's going to be over 1K by the end of this year. So the core mission when we're using astrocartography and strategic relocation analysis is to leverage the celestial geography of your birth, your birth chart, to identify optimal locations that mitigate your challenges, cold, stagnation, and amplify your innate gifts timed to a pivotal astrological moment. So this is specifically tailored to me, but a lot of people have this placement of Rahu and Aries in the 12th house and Libra in the 6th house in Ketu. So here's the key takeaway. If you have that placement specifically, either way, your chart, everyone's natal chart reveals a profound need to leave a birth environment to activate your soul's purpose at some point, in my opinion. So my Rahu in Aries in the 12th house demands a journey of courageous self-discovery away from the familiar. The Mercury retrograde journey on my 21st birthday is not a mistake. It's perfectly initiated review and reset of your entire life narrative. So let me just exclaim my birthday. So shout out to Pisces if you're born in February, because I don't fuck with March Pisces that well. But my 21st birthday is 2/26/26, and that's when Mercury's stationing retrograde on my 21st birthday. And I've already talked about drinking fucking a lot of this right here. Beer. Anyways, part 1, astrocartography analysis and destination mapping, okay? So, my astrocartography map shows lines where planets were angular, rising, setting at the midheaven or Imum Coli. And again, we just made a video on a lot of this at my birth. Living on or near these lines brings that planet's energy to the forefront of my life experience. So based on my natal chart and my stated needs, warmth, new start, financial opportunity, here are the most compelling lines and locations to target, particularly along the Greyhound network radiating from Minnesota. So this is not only affordable, because we're talking about Greyhound buses, but we're also talking about where I was born and where I'm actually residing still to this day, which is St. Paul, Minnesota, also known as the capital of Minnesota, also known as part of the Twin Cities. So, the primary power lines, very important. These are the launch pad lines, I like to call them. And again, this is advanced astrocartography. Nobody is going to sit here on YouTube and actually go over this stuff in detail. I'm going to be the one that does it, and I'm very excited to help everybody. So, I mean, I can't help all of you. Of course, I can only help those that want it. So these lines are my top priorities for a transformative relocation. And that's essentially what this is for me. Why I really am into astrocartography is because I can just use my natal chart calculations and figure out where I actually belong. And I've always known that I do not like it in Minnesota. I'm not very comfortable here. I've always been uncomfortable here. And in fact, I have very radical political shifts and views now. I'm more conservative than ever, dealing with a lot of stuff like detransition. But anyways, planetary line, Vedic correlation key location. And again, in most of my videos, I'm going to be incorporating Vedic astrology. So it's warm and accessible, and here's why it's for me. I have my Jupiter line, Guru. And Guru is expansion, wisdom, fortune in Phoenix, Arizona, or Southern Nevada. My Jupiter is retrograde in Libra in the 6th house of service and routine. Its line can bring opportunity through work, improve daily life, and a more optimistic outlook. The desert warmth directly opposes my Minnesota fatigue. So already off the bat, just because it knows that I have a lot of Jupiter placements, it's telling me I'd be better off in Phoenix, Arizona, and Southern Nevada. Because I need the desert warmth. Minnesota brings fatigue for me. So Venus line Shukra. Comfort, beauty, values. And they're saying Austin, Texas, or New Orleans, or LA. And when I say they, yes, I use AI. And it has helped me in a lot of different senses, but I'm not even going to sit here and get into that in this video. But in the next video, I will go into, in future videos, I will explain how I go about asking AI and then how I go about teaching it and just filming a whole video on that. And yes, I am memorizing astrology. I've been doing this, when did I get into spirituality? When I was 16? And yeah, COVID was already going on when I was 14, 15. So I was locked up and I was like, wow. At my parents' house, like, I don't believe in God. I believe in the universe. And that's just having a fucking 11th house Pisces stellium in general. Pisces stellium. I'm fucking dissolved past that Jesus ego. But anyways, so Austin, Texas, or New Orleans, or LA, because my Venus rules my Taurus ascendant, and its line can make life feel more aesthetically pleasing, sociable, and comfortable. It supports finding value and pleasure in my new home, easing the transition. So Sunline Surya, vitality, identity, recognition in Atlanta, Georgia, or the Carolinas. So it's getting very specific now. So the Carolinas, south and north. My sun is in Pisces in the 11th, hopes and friends. Its line can help me find my tribe and shine within a community. It boosts confidence and vitality, crucial for starting over. So now I already have a bunch of different places that I can look into moving to. Secondary and cautionary lines. Tells me places to avoid. Saturn line. And this is important, so Shani. Avoid as a primary residence. Your Saturn is strong, but retrograding Cancer in the 3rd house, its line could intensify feelings of restriction, loneliness, or heavy responsibility, especially when starting out. It's for mastering lessons, not for planting new seeds. Chiron line. My Chiron conjuncts the midheaven. The line running through the central U.S. could amplify public-facing wounds or healing journeys related to career and status. It's a powerful healing line, but can be challenging for initial settlement. Pluto line Yama. My Pluto is in the 8th house, excuse me. Its line can bring intense transformation and power struggles, but best approached with awareness, not as a first home. Vedic and fixed star synthesis. Also, I just want to say I actually just moved into my first studio apartment on the 16th of this year, and as a young person, my rent is beyond affordable, and I'm doing pretty well for myself, so I'm just very blessed. But anyways, Vedic and fixed star synthesis. So my Vedic ascendant is at Taurus 0 degrees, but my Western Taurus ascendant is at 25 or 26 degrees, so I know that Algol is directly influencing me. But also, it's conjunct the star Merak, the loins of the princess, suggesting a journey tied to ancestral legacy and finding my rightful place. I have a yogi point in Libra and Avayogi in Aries, precisely mirroring my north and south node Rahu and Ketu in Aries and Libra axes, emphasizing that my fortune Dharma lies in bold independent action Aries, not in codependent balancing Libra, which is why I can't find a fucking girlfriend to save my life after years of being single. But anyways, it's because the people I've been dating are so fucked up, and they're fucked up men. But I can't find any women anymore because of the men ruining me. So part 2, the Mercury retrograde birthday launch, which is literally next month for me. So I'm glad to be posting this way before. I mean, we're doing this on January 26th. So my birthday is falling on a Thursday, but I was actually born on a Saturday. I have instinctively chosen a powerful, not problematic time to do this. So Mercury is going to be in retrograding in Pisces in the 11th house for me, and Aries in my 12th house. And here's why this is perfect for me. Because first of all, is a retrograde in the 11th, and then it's moving into the 12th, and then there's the gift of Pisces. So first of all, retrograde in the 11th prompts a review of friendships, hopes, and community connections, leaving Minnesota as a physical manifestation of this review. I'm not saying I'm going to leave next month, but if I did, it would be perfect. So moving into the 12th, it then moves back into my 12th house of endings, solitude, and the subconscious. The journey will be a profoundly introspective cleaning of the slate. The bus ride itself becomes a moving meditation. And I'm saying a bus ride because honestly, your girl has never been on an airplane. And I want to, but I don't know when that's going to happen. So for now, we're talking about the Greyhound bus, which is also more affordable for obvious reasons. But the gift of Pisces. So I have Mercury in Pisces, and that's known to be intuitive, even though it's debilitated. Trusting my gut above where to sit, who to talk to, and what I feel about places as I pass through. This trip is for gathering impressions, not final decisions. So here's the strategy. My birthday trip is a reconnaissance mission, not a final move. I use the retrograde period, approximately February 26th through March 20th, to travel to a potential city, for example, Austin, Texas, or Phoenix, Arizona. Spend 2 to 3 weeks there. If it feels right, the new moon in Pisces on March 18th is the ideal time to set an intention to return and settle, moving after Mercury goes direct. So I actually have to be here for a year in my apartment in St. Paul. I can't just fucking break the lease. I have to leave after a year exactly. So next year, after we save everything up, who knows where we'll be at. Zero Financial Literacy, Survival and Thrival Guide. Those of you that are broke, this is for you. And Gen Z specifically, because I was born in 2005. I know what we're going through, okay? I know exactly what we're going through. And Gen Alpha. So, this is a step-by-step protocol for my Mars in Capricorn, which is exalted. By the way, if you have a Taurus ascendant like me, God, if you have a Taurus ascendant like me, chances are you have your Mars in Capricorn exalted to execute with disciplined precision. So phase A, the pre-launch, now through February 25th, 2026. Talking about the Saturn and Cancer Fund, selling my Minnesota story, and then we get into phase B. So first of all, for phase A, this is theoretical, people. Opening a separate savings account, even just a digital one, naming it New Home. And an action I would take is every time I avoid a spend, such as a coffee or a streaming subscription, immediately transferring that amount of $5 or $15 into this account. It spells capital through emotional discipline, Saturn and Cancer. Selling my Minnesota story, using my Pisces stellium before I leave, creating 3 through 5 pieces of digital content. For example, 20 photos of Minnesota winters I'm leaving behind, a podcast diary while I'm getting on the bus at 21. Selling them using platforms like Ko-Fi or a simple PayPal link. This isn't just for money, it's to ritualize and monetize my departure, turning pain into power. Pluto in the 8th house. Saturn in Cancer, which, by the way, is in my 3rd house. So phase B, the journey and landing, February 26th through onward. We have Greyhound hacks. First week in the new city. We don't have to really go over all this. Building stability, first 90 days. Again, this is all theoretical. My Jupiter in Libra, money magnet. The Rahu and Aries, ultimate directive. Final oracle. My chart shows a soul meant to break the shell of its birthplace. The cold I hate is the cosmic push I need. The Mercury retrograde journey is my odyssey of becoming. My financial literacy will be born not from theory, but from the applied wisdom of my own survival and creativity. I'm not leaving with nothing, I'm leaving with a celestial blueprint. And that was very detailed. So now, I would like to show you the next tabs here. This is the Serene Wealth Roadmap, an integrated astrological investment protocol. So again, I was born February 26, 2005 at 9:53 a.m. Central Standard Time in St. Paul, Minnesota. The objective of this is not only to teach you, but to construct a trauma-informed, celestial-timed investment pathway from financial instability to sovereign wealth by harmonizing Western... Let me just get this in there. Oops. So, I'm using Western, Vedic, and fixed star wisdom. The celestial blueprint for my wealth with my primary wealth archetypes. So, for example, the inspired community architect, Western, Pisces, Stellium, Vedic, Aquarius cluster. That's what I have. Vedic, Sun, Mercury, Venus, Uranus, and Aquarius. That stellium is translated, okay? So Western speaking, I have Sun, Mercury, Venus, Uranus, and Pisces. In the 11th house, Venus at 002 degrees in Pisces is my pioneering value catalyst. Then I have Sun, Mercury, Venus, Uranus, and Aquarius, Vedically speaking, the sidereal chart for me. This concentrates my energy in Kumbh Rashi, the sign of innovation, groups, and future-oriented thinking. My wealth doesn't come from solitary pursuit. It's generated by channeling inspired, compassionate, or futuristic ideas. Pisces, Aquarius through networks, communities, and collective movements, 11th house. And that's exactly what I'm doing on this channel. The discipline strategist, exalted Mars and Saturn. So Western speaking, I have Mars and Capricorn exalted in the 9th house. This is my engine of disciplined, ambitious, and strategic mindset, and it seeks mastery and respects long-term structures. Sidereal chart, I have Mars and Sagittarius in Dhanu Rashi. This adds a philosophical, expansive, and risk-taking flavor to my drive. I execute Mars long-term plans, Capricorn, with a belief in a bigger picture, Sagittarius in the 9th house. My strategy must have an educational, ethical, or cross-cultural component to feel aligned. The karmic resource alchemist, Pluto and 8th house emphasis. So, again, Western speaking, Pluto is conjunct my part of fortune in Sagittarius in the 8th house. My soul's fortune, part of fortune, is tied to transformative regeneration, Pluto, through shared resources, psychology, and inherited patterns in the 8th house. But in my sidereal chart, strong 8th house emphasis, Scorpio and Sagittarius energy. This confirms wealth as a byproduct of deep personal transformation and mastering the use of others' capital or resources. Here's an asteroid insight. Again, astrologers are not going to be going into the asteroids and the fixed stars as much detail as I'm giving you to show you these examples and teach you. So Ceres is an asteroid, and I have it in Taurus in my 1st house, and it opposes Pluto. Okay, this reveals a core wound of Chiron in the 10th house around self-worth and nurturing security, Ceres, being disrupted by power dynamics or loss, Pluto in the 8th house. Healing this is non-negotiable for wealth. So that sounds like going to a lot of therapy, but first of all, I just want to talk about this. When we have an asteroid, and then it's even in the first house of the self and how someone is presenting themselves, and it opposes a Pluto, what do you think would happen? And that's the question. I'd like to ask my audience, what do you think would happen before I talk about it? So, like we said, this reveals a core wound because Chiron for me is in the 10th house in Aquarius, and I also have Pluto going crazy in Sagittarius. Scorpio and Sagittarius. So, self-worth and nurturing security is that asteroid. Ceres. Oops. Alright. So, it's being disrupted by power dynamics or loss because Pluto's in the 8th house. Okay? So, the fated harmonizer, critical fixed stars and points. Again, this is very important. Because I have Algol at 26 degrees 14 Taurus conjunct my ascendant at 23:55 degrees Taurus. What does that mean for me? What does that mean for a person? How would they present themselves in 2026? So this infamous Medusa's head star, infamous star, it grants immense transformative power and intensity to my persona. It must be channeled consciously into creative death, rebirth cycles, not destructive ones, such as what? Could it possibly be taking testosterone at the age of 19 for 7 months? And then dating someone that identified as trans, just the whole ideology. I can see it in my natal chart, why I did that. It's very fascinating. So I also have Spica at 23:54 degrees Libra, conjunct my vertex at 24:03 degrees Libra in the 6th house. So my single most fortunate point, fated encounters, vertex related to daily work, service, or health, 6th house, will bring cosmic gifts. Spica, saying yes to collaborative work offers is crucial. I have a Yogi point in Libra and Ava Yogi in Aries. This directly mirrors my Rahu in Aries in the 12th. My fortune-making potential, which is a Yogi, is activated through diplomacy, partnership, and beauty. Libra. That's exactly what Venus wants. So my greatest challenges, Ava Yogi, and thus growth, come from impulsive, solitary action, Aries, and balance is key. That's essentially what the whole fucking Aries and Libra axis is. It's about me versus you. Even though technically they get along because Aries is fire. Oops. Didn't do that very well. We'll just get the red. So we know that Aries is fire. In Libra is an air sign. Right? So, let's get into part 2, the phased investment roadmap. How am I going to get rich? That's what we all ask ourselves, right? How am I going to get rich today? How am I going to get rich tomorrow? And so on, so on. Governance principle. I don't invest money first. I invest time and refined skill into my celestial assets, and capital follows. And that's exactly what I'm doing right now. By not investing money first, I mean I am a little bit, but also this is 2026 through 2036. I have a lot of time because from the ages of 21 through, let's see, how old will I be? 22, 23, I think I'll be 32, 32, 33, I don't know, in my 30s. So, by investing time and refining skills into my celestial assets, capital follows. Phase 1, the foundation, quarter 2 of 2026 through quarter 4 of 2026. Planting spica seeds. And let's remember, spica is a what? A fixed star. Celestial timing. This is important. Mercury retrograde in Pisces and Aries. My 11th and 12th house, reviewing and re-strategizing all community and content plans. Jupiter conjunct my vertex in Spica in May 2026, the year's most critical wealth opportunity window. So I now know that May, and I'll just use a different color. Let's use pink because fuck it. So May of 2026 is going to be a good month for me. Here's a core action, investing time in my yogi point skill. So there's skill development, there's the Spica offer, and faded launch. So skill development, dedicating 1 hour daily to mastering a Libra and 6th house tool, Canva, Beauty, a meditation app, Harmony, or a podcast editor, communication. This honors my yogi point. The Spica offer in the 2 weeks before May 2026, creating a beautiful, useful digital product, for example, Libra Season Harmony Guide, PDF, 7-day chakra balance audio, pricing it at $24. Fated launch on the exact day Jupiter crosses my vertex, consulting in ephemeris, release it via a free YouTube live workshop demonstrating its use, offer it for sale at the end. Financial target, generate $500 from this single launch. This is my first cosmic proof. Phase 2, the system, 2027 through 2029. Building the Mars and Capricorn engine. And again, what is Mars and Capricorn? Okay. Celestial timing. So Uranus, and also, hang on, so 2027. So from the ages of 22 through about 24, sorry guys. Celestial timing. So Uranus enters Gemini in my 2nd house of income in July 2026 onwards. Sudden innovative income ideas. Saturn in Pisces in my 11th house from 2025 through 2027. It's building structured, responsible networks, core action, investing in a system, which you need to be successful. Create a triple format content engine. Every core idea must be expressed in 3 ways. That's Mars discipline. YouTube video, which we've been uploading every day, so we're doing good on that. Instagram carousel, we also have that. At me at Inferno Cartesian. I think that's how I spell it. Yeah. Spotify podcast snippet. I do not use Spotify unless it's for music, so maybe in the future. Monetization layers, layering my income as Saturn builds structure. So layer 1, 2027, affiliate marketing for tools I use, Canva, astrology software. Layer 2, 2028, a low-cost membership community, $11 a month for deeper study using my Aquarius Vedic 11th house energy. Layer 3, 2029, a high-ticket 1-1 Saturn and Cancer mentorship offering emotional and strategic guidance for $555 a session. This alchemizes my trauma into expert wisdom. So financial target is to achieve consistent $2,500 a month by the end of 2029, which I can do, and I will do. Open a SEP IRA and invest 10% of profits into a low-cost S&P 500 index fund, my Saturnian anchor. So, again, we're going to do affiliate marketing for tools I use, a low-cost membership community for deeper study, and then a high-ticket Saturn and Cancer mentorship offering emotional and strategic guidance, and it's going to be consultations, essentially. So, Phase 3, the Serenity, 2030 through 2036, activating the Pluto-Fortune conjunction, celestial timing. My first Saturn return is 2034 through 2036, and it's in Pisces. The ultimate test and legitimization of my structure. Then, I don't know if I said activating the Pluto-Fortune conjunction, 2030 through 2036. So Pluto in Aquarius, 2024 through 2044, is transforming the collective fields, internet communities I operate within, and 2024 is the year that I literally transitioned. And then I detransitioned in 2025. Anyways, core action, invest in legacy assets. So leverage the 8th house resources using the credibility and audience built to secure a book advance from a publisher, others capital, sponsorships for my community events. Make a Dharma investment in 2034 as my Saturn return begins. I use a portion of savings to co-found a collective, Aquarius, that funds trauma-informed astrological education for youth, healing Chiron in 10th. Purchase a life insurance policy, an 8th house asset that becomes a future wealth transfer tool. Financial target, net worth of $250,000 or more, primarily in a diversified portfolio, 70% index funds, 20% real estate via REITs, 10% discretionary ethical crypto, and a sustainable $80,000 and more year personal income from my $80,000 and more per year personal income from my Servine enterprise. Trauma-informed financial protocols. The algal ascendant power management. And this is important as well because you need to know how to take care of yourself. I'd say self-love and self-care. And, just basic self-respect. They also equal success. Okay. So the algal ascendant, and then the Ceres versus Pluto security account system. Okay, so the algal ascendant power management rule. When I feel intense fear or rage around money, algal trigger, I must create before I consume, channeling that energy into creating one piece of content or contacting one collaborator. Transform destruction into creation. The Ceres versus Pluto security account system. Account 1, Ceres nurturing for essential self-care, therapy, healthy food, funding first. Account 2, Pluto transformation for investing in courses, software, coaching, fund second. And I'd also beg to differ car, because I definitely want one. Account 3, Saturn legacy for long-term untouchable investments, fund third. The Rahu in Aries in the 12th soul mandate. Quarterly, take a 24-hour solar retreat with no spending, no internet. Journal on what courageous action is my soul calling for that I am avoiding. The answer is my next wealth direction. So this roadmap is my celestial contract. Also, a part of what I'd say is my natal promise. And I feel like we're going to see a lot of this with Gen Z and Gen Alpha. And that's going to be technology infused natal promises. So my wealth is not linear, it is a spiral, each cycle revisiting these themes at a higher level of mastery. The stars have set the conditions for me, but I must build the edifice. Okay? Now I have where I'm specifically talking about my natal promise and soul trajectory, cycles of initiation, advanced astrological concepts, 4 original frameworks, which I think we'll go over these first. So let's talk about these 4 original frameworks, a new paradigm for chart synthesis. Based on your natal blueprint and desire for transcendent frameworks, I've engineered 4 original astrological systems that integrate fixed stars, asteroids, comets, and geography into a unified field theory of destiny. Concept 1. The stellar halo amplifier, SHA theory. Here's the premise. So major fixed stars form halos, or fields of influence extending 3 degrees on either side of their position. When a natal planet inhabits the halo of a star, it does not merely conjunct it, it learns from it. When a transiting body enters that same halo, it activates the natal planet's tutelage, creating a 3-way dialogue. And this is my chart, for example. My ascendant is at 2355 Taurus, and it's in the halo of Algol, 2614 degrees of Taurus. I don't just have Algol's power, I am in its school. Transits to this halo are initiations. Here's an innovative technique. For example, on October 25th, 2025, Mars was at 22 degrees Taurus, would enter my Algol halo, exactly opposing my natal vertex Spica, 24 degrees Libra. Wasn't a simple transit. That was Algol power using Mars action to trigger my vertex fated encounter. Predictive statement. That date would have brought about a confrontation or intense interaction, Algol Mars, with a person or institution that forcibly opens a door, vertex to a work service opportunity, Spica in the 6th. My response must be conscious creation, not reactive destruction, and this day already passed, so. Concept 2. We're going to talk about the cometary, aphelion, perihelion dyad. A comet's orbit defines 2 critical points. Aphelion, furthest from the sun, representing collective karma, dormant legacy, and perihelion, closest to the sun, representing personal destiny, activated fame. Mapping these points in the natal chart reveals the life cycle of a soul signature innovation. So here's an application using Comet 2005 B1, my birth comet. So essentially, this comet reached perihelion near my birth. Its orbital path calculated for my chart places its aphelion point at 17 degrees Aquarius in my 11th house, conjunct my Neptune at 1555 degrees Aquarius. Perihelion point at 3 degrees Scorpio in my 7th house, opposite my Taurus ascendant. My collective legacy, aphelion, is to dissolve Neptune boundaries within groups, 11th house. My personal activation, perihelion, requires a transformational all-or-nothing partnership or confrontation, Scorpio in the 7th, that forces my private self, ascendant, into a public role. I'm here to make the nebulous 11th house Neptune intensely real, with the 7th house perihelion through partnership. So now we have concept 3, asteroidal triangulation in the trauma resonance field. So key asteroids related to trauma and healing, Chiron, Nisos, Deianira, Pholus, and Asbolus do not operate in isolation. When 3 or more form a precise geometric configuration, a triangle with a natal planet, they create a resonance field. This field indicates a core wound complex where healing one facet automatically triggers healing in others. So again, I'm using my chart for an application. So I have Saturn in Cancer in the 3rd house at 2053 degrees. Forms the apex of a critical triangle. Okay? Quincunx is 150 degrees to Nisus and Sagittarius at 21 degrees, the wound of abusive power or betrayal. Quincunx to Deianira and Aquarius at 22 degrees, the wound of victimization and learning to set boundaries. This creates a familial karma resonance field around my Saturn. My attempts to build security, Saturn and Cancer, are perpetually tweaked by themes of betrayal, Nisus, and perceived victimhood, Deianira. The healing is non-linear. Progress with one reactivates the others. The exit is through the third quincunx, a conscious act of structured compassion. Saturn directs toward my own inner child, Cancer, which begins to dissolve the other 2 points. Synesthetic, astrocartography, and layered lines, and I just did a whole video talking about astrocartography. I've done multiple videos, including this one, where we're going over stuff. But again, this is a different concept specifically for it, like a sub-concept. So traditional astrocartography shows single planetary lines. Synesthetic astrocartography maps the intersections of 2 planetary lines, creating unique harmonic nodes. Furthermore, it adds a temporal layer, the transit horizon, predicting when a major transit will activate that node. So here's an application for my relocation, even though we already talked about this in depth and detail, but not with synesthetic astrocartography mapping, because it maps the intersections of 2 planetary lines, creating unique harmonic nodes. Furthermore, it adds a temporal layer, the transit horizon, predicting when a major transit will activate that certain node. So first we need to identify a harmonic node, then we need to do node interpretation, and then we need to apply the transit horizon, and then we need to use genius level advice. So, identify a harmonic node. The intersection of my Venus line and Jupiter line occurs near El Paso, Texas. Interesting. What did we talk about earlier in this video? That I belong somewhere warm. I belong somewhere dry. Node interpretation. So this is a... Oh, my charger fell out. So this is a beneficence amplification node. Here, the values and social grades of Venus are exponentially expanded by Jupiter. Luck in relationships and creative income is magnified. So El Paso, Texas now. Very interesting. So applying the transit horizon, Jupiter transits Gemini, which is my second house of income, in May 2026. So this hasn't happened yet. During this period, if I'm at or near this El Paso node, the Jupiter transit will not only boost my income, but do so through Venusian means, art, beauty, and harmony. So now I immediately know where I need to go. So, do not move to a single line though. Save funds to relocate to a harmonic node, Venus-Jupiter, just before a supportive transit Jupiter in second begins. This creates a celestial power-up effect. For me, the Southwest USA is dotted with these nodes. So, again, I know that I need to look into the Southwest of the USA. So my personal advanced protocol, first we're going to do halo activation, then we're going to look at cometary directive, the asteroidal triangulation healing, the synesthetic relocation. So, this was October 25th, 2025. We already talked about that. This date already passed. So, being hyper aware of conflicts, recording them. Use the Mars algal energy to create a piece of art or writing about transformative power. Object will become a talisman. Besides that, we had the cometary directive. So I gotta stop seeking solo salvation. My perihelion in Scorpio in the 7th means my destiny activator will be a partner, agent, or intense collaborator. I need to actively seek this out from late 2025 onward. The asteroidal triangulation healing. When I feel the Saturn and Cancer anxiety of family and security, I have to ask, which wound is speaking? Betrayal, nesis, or helplessness, degenera. Naming it begins to dismantle the resonance field. The synesthetic relocation. Target destination. The American Southwest. specifically areas where my Venus and Jupiter lines converge, researchable via advanced astrocartography software, or like, I don't know, maybe DeepSeek. Just a guess. So plan arrival for April through May 2026 to coincide with Jupiter's second house transit and my Aquarius spirit release. These concepts frame my chart not as a static portrait, but as a dynamic, multi-sensory engine. I'm not here to read the map, I'm here to manipulate its coordinates. The fixed stars are my faculty, the asteroids are my syllabus, the comets are my alumni network, and the geography are my campus. Now I have to enroll. So, now I want to get into, the natal promise and cycles of initiation. I think that's what we have left. Yeah. So the natal promise and soul trajectory. This is a synthesis field analysis using Western tropical and Vedic sidereal and fixed stars. The objective of this is to decode the core soul contract, karmic imprints, and latent potential through cross-system validation, proving a unified field theory of the native's life purpose. I wish there were more colors on here, on Google Docs. So, Western Tropical, Vedic Sidereal, and Fixed Stars. Here to decode the core soul contract, karmic imprints, and latent potential through cross-system validation, providing a unified field theory of the native's life purpose. We know that I was born this day, in this place, and we're going to be talking about my natal promise and soul trajectory just in general, what that looks like. So first we're going to go over the executive synthesis, the core archetype. Next we're going to go over the cross-system analysis of key life fields, wealth, resources, and inner transformation, second, eighth axis, career, public role, and healing mandate, 10th house, karma bhava, spiritual path and soul evolution, 12th house, 9th house axis, synthesized trauma patterns and karmic imprints, the integrated natal promise, and then our conclusion. So, let's start here with the executive synthesis, the core archetype. Primary designation is the wounded healer translator of collective unconscious. And why is that? Because Westernly speaking, I'm a Piscean visionary in the 11th house stellium with a Taurus sensorium, tasked with building structure, containers, Saturn and Cancer for transcendent insights while healing public-facing wounds of authority, Chiron and Midheaven. Vedic summary. A Kumbha, Aquarius, Rashi native with strong Danu, Sagittarius, and Mithuna and Gemini influences indicating a soul oriented toward innovative knowledge, philosophical expansion, and communicative healing. The Karma Bhava 10th house focus with Chiron reveals a destiny through public wounding and subsequent mastery. Unified archetype, a bridge between the palpable and material world. Taurus ascendant and the formless collective psyche, Pisces Aquarius. My life's work is to download, translate, and ground amorphous cosmic data into practical systems, aesthetics, or tools for community healing. So that's why I got the title that I got of the Wounded Healer Translator of Collective Unconscious, because I have Pisces in the 11th house, and it's a stellium. In Vedic speaking, it's actually Aquarius. So, cross-system analysis of key life fields. I have to circle this here. So, self, body, and immediate impression. This is the first house, Lagna. So I'll just underscore this really quick. So, Western, will actually change the color. I'll just come back when I actually have, or I don't know. I don't want to stop. No, I've already got it going. We'll just use the same colors that I've been using for like the entire fucking video because Google Docs is a little bit booty. Just a tiny bit. So, Western, I have an ascendant 2355 degrees of Taurus conjunct Algol at 2614 Taurus. So, the steadfast visage carries the intensity of the Medusa star. Presentation is calm, enduring. What is that? Taurus. And value-oriented as well, yet with an underlying capacity for profound personal transformation and regenerative power. There's a need for consciously directing Algol's potent energy. Now, Vedic speaking, we have Lagna at 000 degrees of Taurus, Vrishabha, conjunct Merak. Ooh. Sorry for all this shit. I will be better organized eventually. The loins of the princess. The body and personality are instruments for fulfilling an ancestral or soul family promise. The 0-degree mark indicates a pure initiating energy in matters of selfhood and physical presence. So now we know this person is chill. Fixed star synthesis, Algol Merak conjunction. This creates a powerful dialectic. Algol demands confronting and transforming deep-seated power, rage, and fear, especially feminine in nature. Merak calls for bearing the lineage or story forward with dignity. My personal presence is fated to be a living resolution of this tension. So, asteroid insight. Series in Taurus in the first house, opposite Pluto. The core nurturing series is tied to a struggle for self-worth in the first house and is challenged by experiences of psychological power and control dynamics. Pluto in the 8th house. Healing involves reclaiming the right to nurture oneself. And if you don't know my story, I've struggled with familial trauma pretty much, the last 20 years. I'm about to turn 21 next month. I just moved out of there, my parents' house, and I've dealt with a lot of bullshit with them. So it's not been an easy road, but I'm still here to tell the tale. So now I want to get into my wealth, resources, and inner transformation, the 2nd house and the 8th house axes. So again, I'm just going to switch colors. I wish that Google Docs was more updated with their shit by now, but unfortunately it seems like they're not going to do anything. So, alright, let's see how that looks. Western, Vedic, critical aspect. So, for me, in the Western chart, I have a 2nd house with Gemini in it. And then I have my 8th house with Sagittarius in it, with Pluto at 2417 degrees, conjunct the part of fortune at 2201 degrees. So value systems are mentally oriented. Gemini, soul level fortune is inextricably linked to psychological and shared resource alchemy. Pluto in the 8th house. Wealth is a byproduct of mastering themes of trust, loss, regeneration, and others' resources. Vedic, in my sidereal chart, I have Dana Bhava, 2nd house in Gemini. Mrityu Bhava, 8th house in Sagittarius, confirms the Western reading of wealth, Dana. It comes through communication, networking, and multi-skilling. Mithuna, The house of transformation, Mrityu, is in the philosophical sign, indicating that deep crisis led to expansion of belief systems, which it did. Critical aspect, Mercury, ruler of second, square Pluto in the 8th, Western. The mind's resource, Mercury, is intense dialogue with transformative power, Pluto. This can manifest as anxiety over finances or profound insights born of psychological investigation. The Fortune Pluto conjunction is the key. My luck activates when I courageously engage with taboo, depth, and transformation. Now let's underline here what's important. So Western, we know that I have a second house Gemini, 8th house Sagittarius with Pluto, 2417. Conjunct the part of Fortune, 2201. So, wealth is a byproduct of mastering themes of trust, loss, regeneration, and others' resources. But Vedic is also saying that Dana Bhava, the second house Gemini, Mrityu Bhava, 8th house in Sagittarius, confirms the Western reading of wealth. Dana comes through communication, networking, and multi-skilling. Mithuna, house of transformation. Mrityu is in the philosophical sign of Sagittarius, indicating that deep crises led to expansion of belief systems. And again, if you don't know my story, I was on testosterone for 7 months at the age of 19. So critical aspect, Mercury, ruler of second, square Pluto in the 8th, Western. Mind's resource, Mercury's intense dialogue with transformative power can manifest as anxiety over finances or profound insights born of psychological investigation. Fortune Pluto conjunction is the key. Luck activates when I courageously engage with taboo, depth, and transformation, and that's why I have a YouTube channel dedicated to astrology. So, let's talk about career, public role, and healing mandate, 10th house, Karma Bhava.